Each portion has 60 grams of protein. It's pesto chicken pasta bake. It's real food that hits your macro goals and tastes incredible. And this right here is everything we're going to need for today's recipe, plus the additions of salt, pepper, and oil. Now the first thing we need to do is get a pot of water onto our stovetop, place it over a high heat and let this come up to a boil in the background. And then we're going to need 1 brown or yellow onion. We can take off the tip, slice it in half, and then peel it. Make thin slices across, just stopping at that root, leaving the root intact, just holds the onion together. Do the horizontal slice if you like to do it, and then go through and dice this up into small to medium sized pieces, making sure you trim off any excess flesh from around that root, just so we have no waste, and any of these little bits can be saved for a stock. The next thing to do is crush and mince 3 cloves of garlic. Just crushing them just helps release their flavor. And then just go through, mince these up into small to medium sized pieces. You can grate it if you prefer, but it will burn a lot quicker. With the bigger pieces, you're going to get that nice nutty flavor, and we can cook it for a little bit longer. What you're looking for is something that looks like this. Next, we're going to need 80 grams or about half a cup of mozzarella cheese. I'm using a whole block and then grating it myself. That way you don't have any of the anti-caking agent that's on the pre-grated stuff. But for this recipe, you can use that if you want to, and if it's a little bit cheaper. We will also be using Parmesan cheese, but there isn't such a weight for that one. It's just as much as you like. For the chicken, we need 800 grams or 1.7 pounds of either chicken breast or chicken thigh. As for this, I'm using chicken breast. Just going to butterfly it and open it up and then slice this into thin strips. If you are using chicken thigh, just trim off any excess fat or tissue and slice it into strips as well. Rotate those strips and then dice this into small pieces. Go and keep these nice and consistent. That way everything will cook at the same rate. And I'm keeping these nice and small. That way we can get these nice quickly cooked pieces of chicken. One thing to note is I am leaving this plain. It's only being seasoned with salt and pepper. You are more than welcome to add paprika, garlic and onion powder, or any sort of spice or marinade that you like on it. Of course, that will change the macros if you are calculating them, but we are adding this to other ingredients, which is going to build up that flavor anyway. So I'm not leaving it plain. It's not boring. Don't worry. Now, when our water is at a boil, we can generously season it with salt. It doesn't need to be ocean water though. Then add in 300 grams or 10.5 ounces of penne or rigatoni. Give it a mix around just to prevent anything from clumping, and then cook this for 2 minutes less than the packet instructions. And then we'll come over to a pan and place this over a medium-high heat. Add in 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil, and when the pan's nice and hot, we can add in all of that chicken. Spread it out a little bit so it's not sitting on top of one another. Season with salt and a little bit of cracked black pepper. And then we're going to mix this around and cook it for about 3 to 4 minutes, or until it's just cooked in the center. You have that nice golden brown color all over. A little tip though is to let this be, let it build up that crust, let it gain that color. If we start mixing it around too much, you're going to knock too much heat out of the pan, and then that's when a lot of that moisture comes out of the chicken and it ends up stewing in its own liquid and it becomes really chewy. So after about a minute or so, let this build up that crust. You'll see those nice golden pieces. Just keep mixing this around and cook it for a total of about 3 to 4 minutes. If you don't have a pan this large, it's completely fine. Just do this in batches to avoid overcrowding. Now after about 4 minutes, you've got this really nice color on the chicken and it's just cooked through. We can remove this from the pan and place it into a bowl. Place that same pan back over a medium-high heat. And this time we're going to add in all of that onion. There's no need to add any extra oil. We'll use the remaining oil that was left in the pan from the chicken and the chicken juices. Add in a touch of salt, just helps sweat them down and break them down a little bit. And then saute for about 3 to 4 minutes, picking up all of that flavor that the chicken has left behind. We want these to be a little bit translucent as well as becoming golden brown. And if anything starts to burn, just slightly turn the pan down. After a couple of minutes, you got a really nice color onto the onions and you can start smelling that caramelization. At this point, we'll add in that garlic. Just make sure you scrape all of that in there. And then cook this down for a further 1 minute, mixing it regularly so nothing burns. We want to get that nice nutty flavor on the garlic, as well as it becoming really nice and fragrant. Now, once the garlic's cooked through, what I have here is 1 cup or 250 milliliters of chicken stock. We can add that in. Increase the heat to high. Mix this around. We're going to let it rip up all of that flavor that was left behind from the chicken and any flavor that the onion and garlic have added to it. We're going to reduce this down for a couple of minutes once it comes to a boil. So once we're at a boil, just let it cook down for a couple of minutes, just going to enhance in flavor and pull up any of those stuck pieces on the bottom of the pan. Now, once this is cooked down, all of that flavor has been ripped up off the bottom of the pan, we can turn this off the heat. Now we've taken this off the stovetop because if we keep this overheat whilst we add the rest of the ingredients, everything's going to split. So make sure it's off the heat. We're going to add in half a cup or 125 grams of high protein yogurt. 2/3 of a cup or 150 grams of high protein cottage cheese. You can blend it if you like it really smooth. 3 tablespoons or 70 grams of basil pesto. I have used store-bought for this one. It's just going to make everything so much cheaper and it lasts a lot longer. add in all of the drained and cooked pasta, as well as the chicken and any resting juices. All we have to do here is mix everything together, make sure everything is coated. If you like more basil pesto, go for it. Just go to your own taste and check it for seasoning as well. Probably don't need any more salt, but you can add in a few more bits of cracked black pepper. Like I said, go through and taste it. I am going to be adding in a little bit of Parmesan cheese. The amounts are up to you, but if you are tracking your calories, just make sure you do a reasonable amount. Mix that all through. Just make sure everything is evenly combined and everything's thoroughly coated. And what you should have is something that looks like this. Now there's a couple of different ways you can make this. You can weigh everything and weigh the total amount and then divide it by 5, or you can just do what I'm doing and evenly divide it by 5. Also, I'm using oven safe containers and I'm gonna build them in the container, put the cheese on and place them into the oven. This isn't one of those channels where you need to have what I have to be able to do the recipe. You can do this in a large baking tray and then portion it up after. This recipe does make the perfect amount for 5 750 milliliter containers. If you like smaller portion sizes, you can probably get another container out of it. And these are roughly 500 gram portion sizes. Once you're happy with that, go through with a little bit more Parmesan cheese, just straight over the top for each container. This is also optional. You don't have to add any more extra Parmesan cheese. Then with our mozzarella cheese, just go over the top and make sure you evenly spread it between the 5 containers, covering the full surface. As this bakes, it's going to get that nice golden crust on top and lock everything in. Then with everything done, we're going to bake this in the oven at 200 degrees Celsius or 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes or until that cheese is golden and crusty on top. My biggest tip when it comes to working in the kitchen is always clean up as you go. So while that's in the oven, we can get the kitchen nice and spotless, and that is included in the total time of the recipe. So with these out of the oven, let them cool down for about 30 minutes and we can start placing on the lids. They'll last in the fridge for up to 4 days and in the freezer for up to 3 months. If you have them frozen, allow them to thaw in the fridge overnight before trying to reheat, and your best bet's going to be a microwave for about 3 minutes until hot in the center. So with all said and done, we can give it a squeeze of lemon juice, and there's only one thing left to do, and that is, of course, we can then dig in. It's incredibly delicious and it's so easy to make.